tupe to morek tiki iki denna jomalan morek ko i yapala bokier imu kagna tupe to geleng. Nyina tupe to geleng rorogdo to joko yapala bokier keti tupe to morek na rorogdo ko kingajin musala. Tete im lo kolera lo waya lo rorogdo ko kuliati bulue siti kolera keti toto ko digiwere na kolera ko kuliengo to ilanget. Bendo ko jarani wojuna tete imi dingin nagon ko tete im lo kolera lo waya konani kona kunu dijur. Yeye jiadi moju imu kagnagondo aje woju tete im anabot nagon anyendo to kita jo kelan nabot keti tipiri tino be anake. Tokele toke piong kunong namemete anake dingitan ling. Dongoni ipiri dongoyet bendo ko dongo kango iterere. Lalane lala kenisi kulo ko piong nake ko sobun ke gapari kingerot nagondo ako nyesukinyo ko imu kagna pondia inor kango ipiri dongoyet. Keti kodo ko delelengo to logondo deden kata ko esi ti kolera meddi kato kelanit dedekije. Kodo ko delelengo to konu di banko de ilanget kata ko esi ko bulu esi ti kolera jongelonge dedekije ge kadina wini nagon nyona teki kato kelanit ko de duma lo langet anyen nyilongo to woju ngaret tokelet. Kodo yang adendia long yo jore pije wazara na kelan ko longa longi ni mirale kang lokana bokier dangini ngwan. Lolonge jakita ko wazara na kelan ko ngaret na WHO, UNICEF ko julin.
تقوم في جنوب السودان
on iRadio. Right, a very good morning to you and welcome to the second hour of the Dawn program here on iRadio, live broadcast from the capital, Juba. I'm your host, Emmanuel J, Akile, and it's Tuesday, the 12th of August 2025, 16 minutes now after the hour of 7. Now in the second hour of the Dawn, today is a very special day. It is the International Youth Day, which is observed globally on 12th August to draw attention of governments and also stakeholders on issues affecting the youth around the globe. But today we will focus on South Sudan. Now the theme for 2025 International Youth Day is local youth actions for SDGs and beyond. SDGs stands for Sustainable Development Goals, which places a strong emphasis on the transformative role of young people in the localization of the Sustainable Development Goals. Youth are estimated to make up over 70% of South Sudan's population, making them a critical demographic for national development. So to shed more light on this and looking at conflict and insecurity, unemployment, limited job creation, and also entrepreneurship barriers and some of the challenges hindering youth progress in South Sudan, I'm joined live in the studio by two guests, Diko Janet Isaac, youth activist and chairperson of the Plan International Youth Advisory Panel, and Duodeng, advocate, teacher, and human rights defender. It's good to have both of you in the studio this morning. Welcome to iRadio.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Now let me start with Diko. They say ladies first.
Okay.
And you're already smiling. Okay. Let's start. Now, as South Sudan marks the International Youth Day, what does this day really mean to you as a person and someone who's an advocate for youth development and youth rights in the country?
Thank you so much. As introduced earlier, my name is Diko Janet Isaac, and I'm the chairperson for the Plan International Youth Advisory Panel, and I'm also a very passionate youth advocate. First and foremost, happy International Youth Day to every young person out there. I know in the context of South Sudan, everybody can be a very young person. So today I'm wishing all of us happy International. Yes, even Akile is very young, as we can see. So the International Youth Day is commemorated annually on the 12th of August. August. And this day actually highlights the achievements, the works, the roles that the young people have been doing. And in the context of South Sudan, we know that the young people have been doing a lot of different things, a lot of advocacy, a lot of empowerment programs, to create awareness and sensitization about the issues of the young people. And this day also highlights some of the challenges that most of these young people go through. And this brings information to the stakeholders, to the government, and even to the other young people that these are the challenges that the young people are doing. This is what the young people have been doing, and this is what they anticipate to do. So for me, the International Youth Day is mainly to celebrate the achievements of the young people and also to look at ways forward. What is it that the young people are doing, or what is it that they are not doing, and what is it that can be done better? Thank you.
Right, and a similar question goes to you, Deng. As a person, what do you think is the significance of this day?
Thank you so much. And to all the listeners, as you've heard, my name is Dawan, and this day means a lot to me. And first, it's a reminder that anybody in South Sudan below the age of 50 is a young person. And I think it's the first significance. What does it mean and to be a young person? Who is a young person? And most of the time, the line between being below the senior person in the country and being an elderly youth person is quite blurry. You find people who are supposed to be above the youth are still stakeholders in youth activities. People who are youth are still calling themselves young. So I think this day reminds us of our role in identifying who belongs to what category, because until we know who is in which category, we'll continue to either neglect our duties because we don't know that they are ours, or we will take up responsibilities that are not ours because we've still stuck to a group or an age group that is not part of us. So this day it's an important call of action. It's a reminder of our duty, and it's a call on every stakeholder in the country, whether the government, both at the national level and the other levels, and stakeholders that are involved, to come together, look at the challenges that are facing young people, look at the opportunities that exist, the potential in them, and to call them to action.
Yes, and Diko, we do understand youth are making up more than 70% of the population of this country. So what do you think are some of the pressing issues that are facing young people today here in South Sudan?
All right. Thank you once again. The issues of the young people in the context of South Sudan are very diverse, and I think I'll just reflect on a few, and then we'll have to add a few also. And one of the key issues that I want to talk about is the issue of unemployment, and this is one of the burning issues that cuts across. When you look at most of the streets of Juba, you see a lot of young people, and then when you go to the universities, when you go to the public institutions, you find there are a lot of young people that are very passionate about the education, about their career, and wanting to make it in life. But then the opportunities are not available. We know that South Sudan is still a developing country, but despite that, this issue also still cuts across. And then I want to also talk about access to education. I'm very passionate about SDG number 4, that is quality education. And we understand that some years back, our government declared free education, especially for primary schools. And this education, to me, it has been compromised at the expense of that education. If you look at Juba, you find a lot of schools, but sometimes the quality of these schools do not really reach to the standard, because not everybody is also able to access all these schools. Not every parent is able to afford for their children to go to school. So that becomes a challenge. And then another issue is also the insecurity at the moment, because we hear a lot of cases, a lot of information, a lot of things that are happening, a lot of atrocities, and this puts the lives of the young people at risk. Sometimes young people are being told they are very lazy, they are not doing enough in their country, but sometimes we also have to also
sitting under the trees, sipping tea, playing dominoes, and
we do
stuff
not,
like that.
We do not undermine the fact that those things are happening, but we also want to look at the real problem. What is the real problem? What is causing these young people to sit under those trees and be idle, because I believe that there are a lot of things that the young people can do, but there are also things that limit them from doing those things, and one of them can be the insecurity that I was just talking about. Yes.
Right, and let me bring you in, Deng, the importance of especially quality education, unemployment, and challenges facing young people today.
Thank you. And indeed, education is one of the main challenges we have in the country. Literacy rate levels in South Sudan are estimated to be at 30%. Now, you have a population of about 12 million, 70% being about youth, and 30% being the ones that are educated. So you can see what that looks like. So you have youth of about, say, 7 million plus, and out of that, probably you have 1 or 2 million. What about the rest? Where are they? When we talk about access to opportunities, work, especially in the corporate sector, where do they get those opportunities? And this is why we've seen that our market is infiltrated by expatriates, because education is a factor. And as Diko said, until we improve our education, and the education doesn't necessarily have to be for the white collar jobs, or maybe office related and all that. There is other education. Are we prioritizing TVETs? Because if we have hands-on skill, South Sudan is said to be on the rise of development. So if you have a country that is developing, where are they going to get workers to construct? So we need TVETs. And I think this also brings in the aspect of employment. If we have young people that are working, probably they'll be able to finance education. But then if they are not working, how do we finance education? If they are not working, how do they get money to start businesses? Another aspect of entrepreneurship that is a problem in this country is the question of taxation. And as she mentioned earlier, the role of the government in bringing young people down is at its peak in this country. The government itself is killing young people. Because
it's like their own government working against them, and you'll see the foreign nationals are actually prospering, but then the young people of South Sudan are actually deserting the business
You have
profession.
a young person that wants to open up, let's say, a boutique. From the boutique, you'll have the city council coming for you. If you're not within the city, you'll have the local authorities coming. You have a lot. By the time
CID and
you finish,
yes.
You have nothing left with you. So the question of youth employment or entrepreneurship is rooted in the policy of the country itself. And which brings us to the question of the National Youth Policy. Imagine this. In 2013, a policy was drafted. 12 years later, it has not been passed. You have an enterprise development fund that was drafted and built in 2020, and it has not been passed. So when we talk about localization of the SDGs as the theme of International Youth Day for this year, we want to look at the problems of the country, contextualize these goals that the world have, and get to meet them. We look at our population. What does it look like? We look at our demography, the categorization of the ages. We look at our territory, talk about topography, the land. We talk about our local problems. So I think that plays a big role. We have to localize this, but then we have to understand what are the challenges that are facing us as a country. And as she stated earlier, the main problem we have as a country at the moment is security in all its form, whether in terms of protection, in terms of food, in terms of jobs. Security is a problem.
Right. And Diko, what do you think here can be the way forward to address this? Because, we have a podcast every Friday, and last Friday we actually we had retired Bishop of Anglican Church, Enoch Tombe, who was proposing the Liberation Era elders should actually retire 65 and go home, become advisors, and give opportunity to young people to lead this country, because they were fighting and they cannot now lead with the same guns that they were using during the liberation struggle. It's now time for new blood to actually take over. That was one of the solutions as a way forward, but I want you to add more on this as a young person.
All right. Thank you. Let me start from where Bishop Enoch stopped and continue building it up. I think I would love to first say that for a very long time, the young people of South Sudan have been constantly told that they're the future of tomorrow. Okay, but I remember I came here last year and I said the same thing. We as young people, we are not the future of tomorrow. We are the future of today. Okay, why do I say so? For a very long time, there are people that are trying to block young people, ensuring the young people know that they are not the future of today. And the young people are actually convinced that yes, their future is actually tomorrow. And the elders are trying to say their future is indeed tomorrow. Why am I saying these statements? It's not a competition that we should be having between the young people and the elders, because even up to now, we do not have a clear definition of what a young person is. Because if we clearly have a definition of who a young person is, you know that, when you reach this level, there are things that you should leave for the young people. But because there's no clear definition, you find everybody can claim to be a young person as long as you're energetic, you have the will, That's why we have young people that say, I'm a young person by heart. Something of that kind, okay? I'm a young person by heart, I'm a young person by this. So we need to clearly define that, and then we also need to intervene. Maybe the older people are scared of the young people coming in, because when you look at the young people, mostly called the Gen Zs, they're very energetic, they're very innovative, they come with a lot of solutions, and the young people feel like they are going to be kicked out. But at this moment, it's not about kicking out, it's not about coming with just innovations, because even our elders, the people that liberated us, there's a lot of knowledge, there's a lot of intergenerational knowledge that exists, and this knowledge cannot just be shifted easily, so we need to learn. Also, as young people, we need to come into the systems, we need to start learning. So what are some of the solutions that can be done? I think we need to start having those intergenerational conversations of how power can be shifted from one generation to another. It's not about struggling for the young people to take over, but it's about learning from the elders and becoming the people that they want to be. We talked about unemployment, that is a very big issue. What is it that can be done? I see a lot of spaces, I see a lot of things happening here and there. Recently, there was an initiative by the Office of the Vice President for Gender Cluster, recruiting young people, fresh graduates, to have internship programs. These are initiatives that are very good, but how sustainable are they? How are they going to be able to sustain these young people that just left universities? Right now, there's a young person out there who is telling another young person that I want to go to the university, graduate, and become like so-and-so. But then the chances of this happening are very low. So there's need for us to shift the narrative. For a very long time, we have been encouraged to go to universities, and white collar, these jobs like the borders, some of these things that we can do with our hands have always been left out. So I think we need to shift the narrative and also encourage these TVET programs to continue going, because this will also create an alternative program or practical knowledge for the young people.
And when you say this TVET program, what are you saying, or what do you mean for someone, a layman language out there to understand?
TVET is the technical vocational education, where you get hands-on skills, whether in plumbing, masonry, carpentry, tailoring, those kind of skills. And I think she has mentioned something about, which is good, about the intergenerational transition. A lot of people would like to call it generational exit. Over the world, it cannot happen. There never has been any exit of any generation. By exiting, you mean that they are going, but where are they going? They are part of us. So we need a transition. But for us to make a transition, and because young people would know their problems better, young people would know what is happening elsewhere, and for that to happen, there is need for trust building between the young people and the elder generation. Why trust? They need to feel safe. And the statement of Bishop Tombo was okay. There is need for them to retire now. There is. With a retirement package, of course. You have to give someone something so you go and relax at home with that. Exactly. But then if you see the energy that the young people have of getting the liberators out, you feel that it would be threatened. What would become of them? So I think we need to start building trust, and that is one. Secondly, to address these problems that we have as young people, The other aspect is to study. And I don't mean this in the sense of going to school. No. Let's look at working examples from the region. What have they done differently that we can borrow? That's one. The challenges that we are facing, how do we address them? So, and our universities, by the way, the other day I asked myself, like, in terms of work, what are the statistics like? Which field has so many professionals? There was the comment by, I think, the minister or the Ministry of Petroleum that we don't have enough engineers to work in the field. Who conducted that research? I mean, where is the data? So for us to also know the extent to which we are disadvantaged as young people, we can do our own independent. And there are so many young, people-led initiatives. They should come together. And something we were discussing with Diko earlier, today International Youth Day, which is also another problem. So many young-led initiatives are doing their different programs. So where do you go as a young person? Why can't we consolidate our efforts as young people, whether at the national level, the state, or the local government? The National Youth Union is so disassociated with the local people in the grassroots. So how can an institution like the National Youth Union come together and partner with the development partners of South Sudan or local-led organizations and bring in these very problems that we are talking about and solve them? I think that partnership and collaboration between young people is also very, very important, and it's one aspect that we overlook. We are more concerned about young people versus the old, but what about amongst ourselves? Have we convinced ourselves that we are working as a team? I think that's also the biggest challenge we have.
Right, right. And Diko, you earlier talked about the issue of Muniao young person in this country. And this has been a debate. And even you see, so many people are complaining. Even you see the National Youth Union or whoever is claiming to be a youth. That is, sometimes they call themselves senior youth, actually. You see, senior youth, someone who is actually maybe beyond 35 or something of that kind. So this issue of defining or the definition of a young person is actually a problem in this country. And you'll find elders taking up positions of youth. Even you see the series of ministers who are coming, Minister of Youth and youth at the national level or the state level. You see them, they claim to be youth, but then they are actually beyond the limit of that age. So how do we harmonize, how do we address this issue from your perspective to ensure that a young person is that young person? No one is actually faking his or her or her age. Yes.
All right. I think before that, if you go home right now and tell my dad or call him Yaba, he will tell you Anamayaba.
That's another issue.
Okay, he will tell you all is a sharp. Okay, and that is something that has been happening for a very, very long time. So what am I trying to say? When you look at the United Nations, they define a young person from the age of 15 to 24, and also the African Union has its own definition from 15 to 35. Right. Now the context of South Sudan, what is our definition? This thing has been going for a very long time. As long as we do not have a clear document, whether it's in the constitution, whether it's in those youth charters that clearly defines who a young person is, I think this conversation will be going for a very long time. Okay, so that means there's need for unified process for us as young people to have those dialogues and conversations and document that, put it down and say, okay, ladies and gentlemen, moving forward from today, for you to be a young person, maybe it should be from 9 to 10 years, and then it's documented, it's approved, and it's passed. So people will know that when they reach this stage, there's nothing that they can do because they've missed out the bracket of being a young person.
Right. Yeah, and to add on that, as I mentioned earlier, the National Youth Policy, I think proposed the age of 40. I think that was the age that was proposed. For a youth, 18 to 40, but it has not been passed, as she put it. So passing that bill making it a law will make a clear cut. Secondly, our young people who are calling themselves senior youth, the moment you know you are a senior, move on. Okay, don't
Yes.
yeah, don't lag behind. It is time to move on. Yes. So if they accept that, okay, we have a clear policy that has been set by the African Union, which is 35. The moment you reach 35, just say thank you, I've been a very good young person. Now start behaving like the old person you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Bringing us about 20 minutes now to the top of the hour. It's now to bring in the callers 0911 or 229 Remember, we're also live on our Facebook page. You have a number of comments. Let me read a few of them. Simon Moga is saying our voices are not heard in the parliament. We are jobless. That is why the issues of gangsters and are increasing in South Sudan. Foreigners are considered highly or better because those of us who are holding the offices are not highly educated. So that they cannot be overthrown by the educated youth. So this is a very interesting or important comment there. John Last Milk is saying, Happy Youth Day. I welcome the guest in the studio. Very important discussion, my people. So my question is, what are our youth leaders doing to stop youth from involving in the tribal discrimination that have actually taken the root in the country, and the issue of violence? Yes, this is. And then we have Honorable Ayumi Peter is saying, Emmanuel Akile Diko talked about internship offer by the Office of Vice President for Service Cluster, but then some of us did not actually hear about the internship. So next time we need such opportunities to come so that it can be also advertised for us. And this brings the issue of nepotism and discrimination, the issue of employment. And internship is actually a right of every person to get that opportunity. You can mark that. Let's pick 2 or 3 calls before we can come to you there here. Hi, Radio? Yes.
كيف تمام؟
Yes.
شكرا للشباب اللي جبته في الاستوديو. أنا درت كلمة عليه هابي انترناشونال يوث داي. طبعا على اليوم بدأ الشباب من قاعد يحتفل بيومهم. طبعا أنت عارف أكيد أنا زادو
سليمان.
يا.
أنت بوريس متاعي كذا نمون بعرف ده.
اسم ده سليمان يا شباب. سليمان. أنا في حيتراوة. كويس. أنا زادو sometimes get confused Akile because our constitution by then زمن أننا السودان بيقول شاب من عمر 18 ل 45 سنه، ودي كونستيوشن ناس الحكومه جنوب شغال بو او جنوبين شغالين بو. ف someone like me اسابق انا ما اعرف انا في محل لانه I'm 36 years old. It means that according to constitution of Africa Union that youth is set from 15 years to 35. ما انا بقى زول كبير. المتحدة بقول من عمر 15 ل 24 سنة، لكن هسه جنوبيين شغالين بعمر بتاع 45 سنة. هسه أنا ما أعرف أن زي وين، أن تقابلنا شباب، أن تقابلنا ناس كبار عندنا. فزي ما بنادي كلم أن فعلا دارين دستور واضح، عايزين قانون واضح، يعني بديفاين بأنه شاب من عمر كده لعمر كده، ده واحد. أما تو عندنا مشكلة في جنوب السودان، population بتاعنا كله يعني 72% كله شباب، لكن إذا كنا government بتاعنا أو سياسيين they use شباب as a tools for their benefit. They are using youth as a tool for their benefit. دور تكون شنو مثلا كشباب عشان تكون باقدر على أبو عشان كده شباب دول ما اسمع كلمات السياسيين. لأن فتكنا الناس اللي يموتوا كتير ده كل شباب. وأنا قلنا سومن. نمبر 3 سؤال خيال أكير نمبر 3 زي المنظمة بتاعت الناقة تنقالي تكون ساعد عشان تكون باقدر درب شباب مثلا في نهاية vocational يعني training. في كم شباب اللي تكون دربوا و what is the way forward لمستقبل الجيش عشان تكون باقدر بيدربوا شباب كتير. يلا كان لنا جونس وكمان sometime كلامته يوث أكيله شباب كتير ما داسوما اللي تكون لنا جونس في town because we are using 2 languages Arabic language and English language. أنا جي كان لنا جونس وكلامته شباب كنا نوصل لهم في on the ground ناك باللانجوجز المحلية. مثلا أنا بيستخدموا رسالات بتاعنا المحلية عشان أكثر شباب ما قرأ. يمكن يا أدية سعيدة.
شكرا جزيلا سليمان. راديو. Hello, radio. Yes, revert back to us on the same line. We pick one or two more calls before we can come back to our guest in the studio. Radio.
Hi, radio.
Yes.
You have connected with Akile from Ahmed from Zara.
Khalid from Zara, welcome. Sorry, we lost you on the line. Hi, radio.
Emmanuel J, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is me, David Magog from Wow.
David Magog from Wow, welcome.
I will not celebrate the day because we do join the group, but we don't feel it and we don't even do it. Only I will ask some questions to the guests in the studio. Number one, do we have youth in the parliament, the national parliament of South Sudan? If we do have, why they did not complain for the youth policy to be passed? This is number one. Number two, those who assume that they are senior youth, they have grabbed now the chance of the ministry and they remain in Juba until they are relieved from position in the state of coming down to the states of South Sudan. Why the youth are disconnected? They are not connected now. Like you now, you are explaining in the studio of Juba and you remain in Juba. Even the plan is national. It's supposed to be plan national, or which you can even go around South Sudan for 10 states. Yeah. Now, are you people telling the youth of South Sudan, all of them, to move to Juba or not? Because any scholarship will come there and finish in Juba. Any plan can come out from Juba and finish there. Now, which is which? Do the youth need a second liberation in this country or not? Lastly, is about the training. The youth are not informed about their rights. Those who are working in 1955 until today are still working in South Sudan. Where will the youth of this country get opportunity to work? Where are they going to learn? Because now if you can go to the universities, they become very expensive enough. And the youth whom their fathers are not liberators, are not honorable or general, they will not have a chance to study. Even vocational training, they are not available in the states. Which is weak. Then that's why you have seen them, they are being used for fighting. And if it becomes the decision making or to the process of nominating people to position, they are neglected out. That is, people are now, the youth are all running after what is so-called psychopathy. Now, where will the South Sudan, will they get chance if the youth who have open eyes do not inform them? That means we need your attention as people concerned. Right. And if you don't do so, you plus the politicians who are in Juba, you'll be the same. Can you come down and inform the youth, open their eyes?
All right. Thank you very much, David Magog. Don't behave like the politicians in Juba. Hello, radio. Yes, we pick one more call before we come back to our guest in the studio and respond to the questions. We have about 14 minutes to the top of the hour. Hi, radio.
Yes, hello.
Yes.
You're speaking to Abdel Lalolik from Jebel Dinka.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you for the day. I want to ask you, our guest in the studio. Now, what will be the way forward for us as young pillars of this country to achieve our goal? Because even they talk, there's nothing that can change our lives. You see, that's why youths are really abandoned. And we are still talking, we are struggling, there's nothing completely that we are going to get. What will be our role and how are we going to get our rights in South Sudan?
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for your question. And we have a number of them, plus those who are following us also online. I will now come back to our guest in the studio to respond to the questions. Yes? Who wants to go first?
Okay,
Yes,
I think
then you start.
I think I'll go first, and I'm very happy with our brother David Magog from WOW, and he has raised a lot of issues. One, the connection between young people, especially at the national level and at the state levels, and the question of youth participation. And I often say the youth have a role to shape the policy of this country. They have a role to play in the allocation of resources in this country and to oversee the management of their affairs, because they have a life to live long enough. They have children that are coming. So if they leave things unchecked, it will be their lives, it will be the lives of their children, because they will be there long enough to oversee them. So it's important that the youth get involved. And are the young people involved? Of course, yes. We have so many young people in the parliament, the national parliament. I don't want to count them and I don't want to say their names, but we have so many of them. The question of their role in advocating for the interest of the young people. They have a lot of factors that are facing them. I'm not using it as an excuse, but trying to let them know why it is a problem now. The youth that we have in parliament today, they were brought by political parties to the agreement. So if they have to champion anything, they have to champion the position of their political parties. It is as plain as that. So if the political party itself does not have an agenda for the young people, there is nothing for them to go and champion at the national level. Because if you go and champion something else, you'll be kicked out. So that brings us to the question of elections. If we have elections, we elect people that will come through us, whether they came as party flag bearers, they will get the mandate from us, and then we can question them. But for now, we will have
them accountable. Actually,
exactly. But for now, maybe we hold accountable the political parties they come from, because those are the ones that have the agenda, not them. Secondly, the question of reaching out to the grassroots. We are sitting in Juba, but Magog had us in Wow. It's so many hours away if you are using a flight, isn't it? So that is also one way of us reaching out to the young people. Also, the question of centralization of opportunities, it's a problem. In law, the country is decentralized. So if there are opportunities, they have to go all the way. But then the national level is not an implementing institution. They are policy makers, whether in the ministries, at the executive level, or in the commissions level. They are policy designers. The implementation is at the state and the local government. But those powers have been removed. This is why they are not getting opportunities. So I would beseech young people at the local level to understand the law so that they can ask for their rights. Because without understanding, opportunities will be grabbed in Juba, senior youth will continue to stay in Juba, and they will not benefit. They have to reach out. Yeah.
All right. Yes, Diko.
All right.
I'll pick it up from there.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to reflect on a few questions, and I think I'll just try to match them. So there was a question that is asking about what are our youth leaders doing to avoid the issues of tribalism, and then there's somebody that also talked about the young people being used as a tool to fulfill the agendas of some political leaders. And then somebody also mentioned, I think that was David Magok, who mentioned about the youth being in Juba. And I think he mentioned Plan International at one point. With the Youth Advisory Panel of Plan International, we are not just based in Juba. In all the areas where Plan International operates, they have people, they have young people in those offices that coordinate the efforts. So this is in an aim to bridge the gap between us in Juba and those ones in the States. And where necessary, where opportunities present themselves, there's a rotation where we can be able to go to the States and do the same thing that we're doing. So now the question of what is it that the young people are doing or what needs to be done. I think this comes to a sense of accountability. As young people, before we project it to the other people, before we ask another person, what are you doing for this country? Let's ask ourselves the same question. What am I doing for this country? How am I contributing to this country? And then we can now see who to blame when we know that we have done something. Otherwise, we can be talking about the same thing and the same thing every day. What am I trying to emphasize? I'm trying to say we need to walk the talk. I know a lot of us will come to the radio stations and talk, young people, we need to do this and that. We go home and do nothing. Even some of the young people in the different locations, they do the same thing. And the same things keep repeating themselves every single day. When they say the young people are used as a tool to fulfill the agendas of some political parties or leaders, I think that's very accurate. Because I'm trying to imagine, I am very broke, I just graduated, I do not have anything that I'm doing, I'm not able to farm because of the insecurity, and then somebody comes to me and tells me, hi young lady, I have this program, I want you to do for me this and this and this, and I'm going to pay you this amount of money. So now this comes to the challenges that the young people are facing. Let's imagine if there are schools that are accessible by all, if young people are able to get the opportunities, if there's safety, there's security. Trust me, some of these agendas, young people will not be pushing for them, because at least at that point they'll know their rights. Somebody mentioned about young people not knowing their rights. That means we need to still create awareness and sensitizations. Today when the radio stations, somebody in Tombura, somebody in Torit, somebody in Yambi is able to listen to us, and they're also able to pass that information to another person. So to me, I feel as young people, we need to first hold ourselves accountable and do things right before we project it onto the others, so that, you know, we can now hold them accountable, knowing we have done something right. Yes.
Yeah, and to add on that, especially, I like it that we hold ourselves accountable as young people. The other day when Tanzania passed a bill prohibiting foreigners from engaging in businesses that were designed for local people, including our own government, we condemned them. Young people, and I was like, even the government themselves, they do not even know the law, because the law is very clear. If you go to our labor law, it says that there are jobs that are reserved for the citizens of this country. Jobs like selling in a kiosk, it's for South Sudanese. Jobs like hawking, they are for South Sudanese. If a foreigner comes in with a company, or it is a foreign-owned company, 80% of those jobs have to be for South Sudanese.
Even actually institutions in general, that's the labor, the labor law is. Like even the hotels, and you know, 80% are supposed to be South Sudanese. But when you move around, you go to the hotels in South Sudan.
So you question yourself now.
Yeah, it's something different actually.
Whom do we hold accountable? The law is already there. The government does not know the law or doesn't want to implement the law. The young people do not want the law. They do not want to hold the government accountable for not implementing the law. So I think the question of the participation of young people and the way forward has been answered by Diko properly.
Right.
Let us walk the talk.
Right. And what your name actually, what Deng did is on Facebook here saying, all job opportunities are taken by the foreign nationals.
I think I just answered it.
Yes, that's the comment I want to bring in. And since we have about less than 5 minutes now to wind up, I give you each 1 minute for your last message as to conclude our interview, especially on this International Youth Day, and we look at the way forward, a solution-based comment that we can wind up the conversation with. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for hosting us. This has been a privilege, speaking on the affairs of the young people, which is what I'm passionate about. As young people, this International Youth Day is a call for action. When we talk about the localization of the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, we mean we have to put them in the context of South Sudan. We have education that is failing, and you are a young person without a job. Why don't you volunteer? We have the question of poverty, of hunger, and there are so many constructions that are going on. Why don't you put down your suit and go work there? There are so many young people that do not know their rights, and you are a young lawyer. Why can't you take up free legal advocacy? I think let us all take action. However little your effort is, it matters towards achieving the development of the youth that we all desire. And we are not going to be in the youth bracket for long, so when we are told that our time is tomorrow, know that when tomorrow comes, we shall be a year older. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes, Diko.
All right. Just to build up on what he just talked about, I think for the young people, I still hold all of us accountable, including myself. Let's start walking the talk. And then there's need for us as young people in our indifferences to collaborate and work together. He gave a typical example. There are a lot of celebrations that are happening. The young people are divided. I think there's need for us, the young people, to unify. We know that South Sudan young people occupy almost 70+% of the population. But you find this 70% is occupied by the young people, and these young people are actually divided. So it means that we have a bigger number that is not united. And I believe that if we're united, we can do a lot of things. I love quoting from Nelson Mandela, and he said, it doesn't matter whether the cat is black or white, as long as it can catch the rat. Sometimes you feel your efforts don't contribute any significance to what the country is going through. Sometimes you feel you're doing nothing. I just want to say keep doing it, because one day it will have an impact. Maybe not in the whole country, but in the life of somebody, an individual. So let's keep striving. Let's keep believing that one day, one time, we'll truly achieve the vision of having a very peaceful South Sudan, that every young person has an opportunity to thrive and to become the person that they truly aspire to be.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diko Janet Isaac, youth activist and chairperson of the Plan International Youth Advisory Panel, and Duot Deng, advocate, teacher, and human rights defender. Thank you both for joining us on the Dawn today. Thank you. Yes, that brings us to the end of the Dawn edition for today. Join us again tomorrow morning at the same time to get the latest on what's happening in South Sudan and beyond the borders. Up next, news in Arabic. On behalf of the Dawn team, Paulina Athe, Awan Moses, and producer Barry Johnson, this has been Emmanuel Joseph Akile. Have a good day.